Hey guys, we're back. This time we're going to take a look at something that came in the mail recently. It's kind of funny. It's labeled as Exploding Kittens from the same company. I think that's actually their company name now, but inside here, so a couple different things. This I actually opened already, I'll get to it. It was a thank you letter and a promo card, which is in the box. Next we have a promo cartoon, of course using my name and my information from shipping like they did for Exploding Kittens. And then we have something fuzzy. So we're looking at bears versus babies. And there's a little like sleeve on here. Won't be keeping that, but it mats the fur, which is the nice part here. So you have to have our beautiful fuzzy box that we got from the Kickstarter. And Bears vs. Babies is a pretty light game. I think it supports up to, I want to say 6 players, maybe 5. And you're basically building monsters out of various parts to take on an army of babies before they kill you all, basically. But anyway, we'll get in and take a look. So inside of our nice fuzzy box, we have, first thing we find is a really nice cloth playmat. And this goes out on the table, tells you where to put all of your decks. If I can get it to fit here. Just fits on camera without changing things. Tells you where to put all of your decks, the various baby decks that come up your draw piles over there and the discard pile over here. It also has the turn order down here of what you can do. And of course the game itself came with this really cool rule book. And as with Exploding Kittens, the right on the cover, it's a don't read this rule book. It directs you to a URL, which I can put down in the notes so you can see. Go to that URL, there's a how to play video. It's a lot easier to learn to play by watching someone else. And on top of that, there's this really cool frequently asked questions book, which has a bunch of really common questions and things in here. The one thing I will point out is that in the frequently asked questions book, there's a section on hats. I don't remember seeing a section on the hats in the actual rule book. They basically double the power of the monster that they're on. So keep those in mind. The other one that's in here, I think, the masks are not explained in the rule book, but they're in the this little FAQ thing, so be sure to check that out. Next up are the actual decks. Now when you first get this, they're separated in a smaller deck and a larger deck. And for your first game, if you really want to learn the easy way, the instruction book and everything tells you to open only the one deck and play with that. Now of course you can mix them all, it just adds in some more complicated rules and makes things a little more difficult to pick up right off the bat. If you're good at these kind of games, you played a lot of games, really shouldn't matter. If you're new to games, you may want to follow the instructions and only use the one deck. Now, in there's a bunch of different cards. Like I said, some of these are from the more advanced stuff. The swap ones allow you to swap any 2 heads on the table. The lullaby allows you to clear out a one of the baby armies. The wild provoke allows you to provoke any of the baby armies, even if there isn't a monster on the table of that color. Then we have various babies with different icons up here. There are land, sea, and air. There's a land, a sea, and an air right together. And let's see if I can find some body parts in here. Dismember ones allow you to remove any edge card from a monster, so you pretty much can't remove a piece in the middle, but you can remove anything that doesn't have multiple pieces attached to it. There's weapons. The weapons have a little socket type that goes into slots in the various hands. Then we have a head here. Everybody's going to start with a head, and as you go, there's more of these in the deck to draw too. Bears themselves, like this one, have a rainbow icon at the top. They can be any color. And then they have these little stitch marks at the bottom. You're going to stitch these to other parts as they come up. So you find another body part like this one here that has matching stitches. They go on like that. The bear goes into play, and then you can add to it by matching up the stitches. Now this one doesn't have slots for legs because it has a tank, but it does have the double stitches on either side for arms. There's a full torso there that has a spot to attach legs as well as arms. Lots of different things in here. I don't want to go through each one because we'll leave some surprise in there. There's a pair of legs and so on. If I can find an arm, there should be some arms somewhere. Sure not. There's a crab claw for an arm, and you can see there it has the slot for a tool. After you've got your monster created using all those pieces, you're going to add up these numbers at the top. So you start with a 3 for your head, a 2 for the torso, so that makes you a 5, plus your arms. There's a bat wing, gives you a 1, and so on. If your number beats the number of babies in the current army that you're going to attack, you'll win. There's a little more to it during the game. You're going to be drawing those babies. Any babies you draw go face down in the appropriate piles. When somebody decides to provoke one of the 3 colors, flips up that entire stack, and all the monsters at the table have to take on the babies in that pile, and the babies also have numbers at the top here. If your monster's total beats the baby's total, your monster survives. If the baby's total beats you, your monster is destroyed. If you have the highest number when beating the babies, you get to keep the baby cards as points to add up at the end of the game. Either way, all monsters of the same color as the pile of babies that were provoked get discarded afterwards, so you have to pick and choose when it's wise, when you think you can beat what's out there. I'm sure I missed some of the rules in there. It's just a quick overview. It's a really fun, light game. If you like exploding kittens, you might like this. It's a little more complex than that game. Has a little more thinking to it on when you build up your monsters and when you decide to attack, what color you provoke, and so on. And as I mentioned in the beginning, that thank you envelope that was in there had this great little thank you card from the creator. And it came with a promotional bear. These bear heads are what control the number of players that you can have. So with this in there, you can have an extra player. And as I said, everybody's going to start with one of these. So that's kind of a neat little thing to add an extra player on. So that's pretty much it for Bears versus Babies. As I said, it's a light, fun game. Plays pretty quickly, depending on the number of players. My only real complaint is that in the parts cards, there seems to be a real lack of torsos. So you end up with a lot of heads with no torsos. You can play the heads for the points that are on them, but to build an actual monster, you need that torso to get going. There's also a limited number of arms, but that didn't seem to be so much as a problem because you can't play the arms anyway without the torso. So hopefully we get an expansion at some point that adds some additional torsos to the game, maybe some variety in the arms, because there's a lot of them that are pretty much the same, and that'll boost up the replayability. But for now, it's a quick, fun, light game. Definitely well worth what I put in for it. I'm glad I backed this one. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for Bears vs. Babies. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.